Hello YouTube, this is Asatsu5 and this is my um, terminology video. I've been wanting to make this video for a while, and not a while, but for maybe 3 or 4 weeks now. And Cutlery Level made his video talking about his opinions on using proper terminology and stuff. And so I thought, what the heck, I'll do my video now too. So, full stuff. Let's see. Um, I got two Swiss Army knives with me, just laying around on my little desk, and I call them Swiss Army knives because they're made in Switzerland, and if there's a quote unquote Swiss Army knife that's not made in Switzerland, I don't call it a Swiss Army knife. I call it a multi-tool. To me, all uh, Swiss Army knife style, that style of knives are multi-tools. I'm not talking about the secretary or anything like that, or the Gardner that Victorinox makes. I'm talking about all the multi-function tools that Victorinox and Wingle makes. Um, um, they're all multi-tools in my opinion. So if there's a uh, Swiss Army style knife that is made in China or America or Canada or wherever, I call them multi-tools. And that's my opinion on that subject. If they're from Switzerland, I call them Swiss Army knives. Um, and there's a reason for that. Just because uh, I have many different interests, and one of those was um, the history of drugs and alcohol and tobacco and stuff like that. And um, things can be geographical. For instance, uh, there was a New Year's Eve party, and someone gets out sparkling wine and says, "Hey, I got champagne." Well, no, there's a good possibility you don't got champagne, because champagne has to come from the Champagne region of France in order for it to be champagne. Kind of like how Scotch has to come from Scotland in order to be Scotch, or how um, bourbon has to come from Kentucky in order to be bourbon. You can have the same ingredients, but make it in a different state or country, and it's legally not that product. So that kind of just stuck with me, and I refer to knives made in Switzerland that are multifunctional as Swiss Army knives. Um, Also, um, um, things can be geographical as far as cultural identity as well. For instance, you can go just about anywhere in the South, and someone can say, "Hey, I want a Coke," and that person has not told you what they wanted yet. They refer to all carbonated drinks as Cokes, and they say, "I want a Coke," and they said, "Okay, I want a Dr. Pepper." So this happens. I know people like this. You drive up to a convenience store and they say, "I want a Coke," and then you say, "Well, what kind of Coke?" "I want a Sprite." So there was an example of that. Um, for another example of this kind of terminology being used and misused is clips versus magazines. And me and my brother have kind of two different thoughts on this, and I agree with some of his points, and he agrees with some of my points. But let's just say, for instance, uh, you're a soldier and you run out of ammo, and you say, "Quick, I'm out of ammo. Hand me that clip." Well, um, chances are you're not referring to an actual clip. A clip is a device used to load magazines or cylinders, and it has no springs in it. Um, um, but a magazine is what actually holds the bullets, and that has a spring mechanism that feeds the bullets up. So there's a difference there. And in that instance, you know dang well what they're talking about. Um, you know that they're talking about a magazine, and there's no need to be nitpicky about it in that situation. But in my common situation, where I'm working at a sporting goods store, someone says, "Hey, I'm looking for a clip." Well, our store doesn't sell clips, and I might through no fault of my own, say, well, I'm sorry, we don't sell clips. Um, so, or the opposite can be true, and they say, "Hey, I want a clip," and I think they're talking about a magazine, so I show them the magazines, and then they're like, "Wait, this is not what I want. I want a clip." So it can get confusing. So I believe in certain situations, it makes life a lot easier if you use the proper terminology. Um, Now, this is the reason why I wanted to make this video. This is what inspired me to um, talk about this subject. And it's not necessarily a Cutlery Levels video, which his video was good. I thought it was well explained why he chose the words that he chose. But someone came up to my store and asked for a P38 can opener. Remember, there's different P38s in the military. There was a P38 pistol. There was also a P38 vehicle, I think, and there was a P38 can opener. He's like, hey, I'm looking for a P38 can opener. I've been working at the store for almost 4 years now. I have never seen a P38 in the store. So I said, and me being the military historian, as a side hobbyist, I'm an amateur, don't read too much into it. But I enjoy military history and history in general. I just, without even thinking, saying we don't carry P38s. I know that there's a Army surplus store in my town that sells them, but Academy does not sell P38s. So I told him this. I said, hey, we don't sell P38s. And he's like, yes, you do. I bought one here a couple of years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, no, we don't sell them. I didn't say that. But after he said that he bought one here before, and it was in the time frame that I was working at this store, I instantly knew what he was thinking about. And I showed him the product. He's like, yeah, that's what I wanted. Uh, uh, and it wasn't a P38. It was a Fred. Now, hang on one moment. I'm going to edit in a picture of a P38 right here. Um, okay, now that I got that picture out of the way, um, uh, he wanted a Fred. I'm going to edit a picture of a Fred right here. Okay, the Fred is a New Zealand, I believe it's New Zealand uh, um, tool that's named Fred, and it's an acronym of the Field Rations eating device, also known as the effing ridiculous eating device. And it's a completely different, it does have a can opener, but it has many other tools on it as well, a bottle opener, a spoon. It's just a different device altogether. And uh, it, and we don't call them threads at our store. It's called just a can opener. But because he used the term P38, I thought he literally wanted a P38. And so I told him we don't sell them because we literally do not sell P38s. So because he didn't use the right terminology, I almost missed out on a sale. And I'm going to say it again. Life is a lot easier, especially if you're a salesman and you sell a particular item, or if you're a reviewer of particular gear. It makes life a lot easier to use proper terminology. And sometimes when I'm talking to people who are not as knowledgeable as you are, or that as I am, I do dumb down my speech just a little bit, just so we can all be on the same page. And there's nothing wrong with that. But in a professional setting, most of the time you want to use proper terminology. It makes you sound more professional and like you know what you're talking about. But you just kind of have to judge your audience and use your best uh, uh, discretion. So, anyways, let's talk about Bowie knives. Is there a strict definition of what a Bowie knife is? I don't think anybody knows what a Bowie knife actually is. I mean, it's a large knife, medium to large size, usually having a clip point, But those people who call large drop points Bowie knives, those people who call large daggles Bowie knives, those people who call the Bowie knives Arkansas toothpicks, and then those Arkansas toothpick daggle. Those a lot of interchangeable um, uh, knives that we use to turn Bowie knife. And in fact, the first Bowie knife that Jim Bowie had was made by his brother Reason, and it was described as a large butcher knife. They said that Jim Bowie had a large butcher knife, and people started calling large butcher knives Bowie knives. And then it wasn't later. It was later when he started getting a custom fighting Bowie designed for himself. With the guards and the all the bells and whistles. So that's it, I guess. I don't want to ramble too much because on my phone I can only upload 15-minute videos. But yes, most of the time in a professional setting, such as a salesman, a reviewer here on YouTube, you want to use the proper terminology depending on your audience. And I understand why Cutlery Level used the term Swiss Army knife, because it literally looked like a Swiss Army knife. I would have personally called it multi-tool just because how I think, but he was trying to find something that everybody can relate to so they know what the video is going to be about. To me, all Swiss Army knives are multi-tools, but not all multi-tools are Swiss Army knives, and not all Victorinox or Wangle knives are Swiss Army knives. So it gets kind of confusing, I guess. But again, it's just my opinion. There's going to be many more opinions, and I felt that I should share my opinions on this particular subject because it does affect me when people use the wrong terminology, because then I either miss a sale because I don't know what they're talking about and I tell them we don't have it, or we conflict, we don't understand each other. So that's it. Hope y'all enjoy this video. I'm a Satsu5 and I'm out.